Just a quick little thing. We talked about how the economic spin to what Real does in the hotel rooms and the restaurants and all that stuff, the great things that it does for our economy. We got Farm Progress Show coming in, or Exhibition coming in, sorry. If this was ran by the city, we would still see those economic spin-offs. We'd still see the hotel rooms rented. We'd still see the restaurants busy. We'd still see all that. So I don't understand why why you'd use it as to, I mean, am I correct in understanding that? Or do you see that Real brings a bigger value than if we just did it somewhere? Like, I mean, maybe they do a better job at doing it, so that's why there's such an economic spin-off.
Yeah. I think I understand your question. And I will, Roberta might have a thing or two to add on, but like I might start by saying, absolutely, that could absolutely happen, right? If you set up a city department that kind of operates the same way that Real does, with the people focused on doing the same thing, I think that absolutely you would still, that's absolutely true. I think the thing that is different about Real, and whether it matters or not, like I'm an accountant, but whether it matters or not, the entrepreneurial spirit of Real creates a different environment than I might expect to see in a city department or a ministry land or executive government of any kind. There is a different type of activity level, authority level, right? Like there's a little bit more willingness to make a mistake, right? Like that's an entrepreneurial aspect, right? If everybody gets scared to say yes, then nothing happens, right? Like it's just not going to happen. And so I would say that matters. I would say the one thing I learned from tourism was that a business or an activity or an operation that is so, it's different. It's different than how you would run an entrepreneurial. You cannot afford to make those kind of mistakes, right? And so I would say this, so I think the reverse could happen, right? I think if Real came into the city, I think it would not adopt an entrepreneurial spirit. I think people would be worried about taking risks, and people would do the operations as they do, but in order to get some of the events and some of the calls and invest in things like Frost, you have to be prepared to take a risk, and I would worry that might get lost. Did you have something to say,
Yes,
Roberta?
I would. So through you, Madam Chair, and great question. As a previous city employee, I joined the city in 2012, and then left in 2018 after working on 2 major projects in the city. I went to Real because it was an exciting place and because it was an entrepreneurial spirit, and I felt that the experience I brought from this organization, I could turn around and help a municipally owned organization move forward. I think to Cathy's point, we operate on a day-to-day basis. I might have something come into my office, or another VP or another manager or another director may have something come into their office, and you do not have 2 or 3 days to make a decision. It has to happen in 2 or 3 hours, and you need to be able to walk over to an office, have a marketing and communications person available and ready to respond. You might need to walk to a security person and have them respond. And so I think there is massive validity and value to look into moving this organization into the city. But what makes us unique is the fact that we respond very, very quickly, and we are there 24/7. It's not uncommon to see all of the executive on site almost every single weekend. It's not uncommon to see directors there checking in on their staff. My finance team goes to every single concert to make sure that that settlement is right and that we're not paying too much or too little for the event that's happening. So it's an all-inclusive, all hands on deck approach to business. And I think, you know, can it move under the city? Absolutely. But there's potential risk that the overall spirit in which we conduct our business may be impacted.
It's just the laws of unintended consequences.
Exactly, thank you. That's a great point.